Welcome to the table. You are now listening to the Real Table podcast with Michael Carter.
Welcome back to another episode of the Real Table podcast with Michael Carter as your host, as always. And I'm excited about today's episode. We've got a lot to talk about. Probably the first biggest film of 2025. Just hit theaters this past weekend. Sinners, directed by Ryan Coogler, starring Michael B. Jordan, Hailee, Steinfeld, and many others. And we're going to get to that in just a sec. But before we get to that, I got to introduce the people on the pod today. Today we have Josiah back on the podcast. It's been a minute. And then we have my wife, Lynlea, on the podcast. So we got some fresh voices. Instead of just hearing my voice for a while, we get some new voices and some better perspectives. So this is exciting. So, Josiah, let's start with you. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. Finally warming up. I mean, this winter has been pretty brutal in my opinion, so I'm glad to get some warmer weather. Yeah, life's going on. I'm going to be really busy here. Over the summer, I'm going to be switching careers. I signed up for a 1-year HVAC course, so I'm going to be getting my HVAC certification. So I'm excited,
Nice.
but I'm not excited to be back in school. You know, classes Monday through Thursday. I'm like, oh, but hey, it's good. It's good. Things are good.
Good. My lovely wife, Lynlea, how are you doing, sweetie?
Good. I also was going to talk about the weather. I got to go on a walk today, and I saw 3 dogs, and I got to pet one of them, and it was 2 golden retrievers, and it was the best. And yeah, really grateful for the sun. I agree. Josiah, the winter was brutal.
Say hi, Kale.
Oh my gosh!
We got a friend.
Oh my gosh, the fluffiest.
He just got a haircut the other day, so he's not as fluffy as he normally is. But
I love that.
Even more fluffy. Yeah, but I'm good.
Good. Yeah, I'm excited about this weather too. Yeah, this weather is just so nice. We've been waiting on it. We've been waiting on this nice weather, getting away from all the cold, which is exciting. So, yeah, I'm pumped about this weather.
And also, one thing that summer brings is the summer movie season. So,
yes, dude. Perfect segue. Let's talk a little bit about May, man. May gets us started. I don't know. I feel like this weekend felt like it was the start of it in a way. Even though we're in April, it felt like a movie like this in a way. It's just doing well with the box office and doing well with the reception. It feels like it's already started. But like as we look to May, we got Thunderbolts. Marvel's making its way back with Thunderbolts, and then we got Lilo and Stitch. Another Disney live action remake take, and then we have Mission Impossible. So Josiah, let's start with you. Some early thoughts. Like, what do you think? What do you think about May going in?
So real quick before May, I am going to be seeing Star Wars Episode 3 this weekend on Sunday for the big, 20th anniversary. It's crazy because I finally convinced Tyler, my wife, to watch. She has never seen any Star Wars movie ever, and so a friend was like, "Hey, do you think you can get her to watch all the movies in a week before the Revenge of the Sith?" So we're about to finish up Return of the Jedi, I think, today, and then we're gonna watch Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. So that's going well. Pretty exciting. But May, Thunderbolts. I'm excited for it. I know you and I were texting. I think it's going to do better than Fantastic Four. And then, I'm tired of, I'm just so sick of the remakes, the live action remakes and all these sequels and stuff. But I think I told you as well, I think the live action Lilo and Stitch looks pretty awesome. So I'm actually looking forward to that. I probably won't catch it in theaters though. And then Mission Impossible, Tom Cruise, I think the man can do no wrong. So I think this is probably going to be the end of the Mission Impossible franchise, and it's just been getting better and better and better. Although I will say with, what was it, Dead Reckoning? That was the last one. This is the final Reckoning.
Yeah.
Then I wasn't too big in the whole AI thing, but it's all right. It's still going to be a great movie. Tom Cruise does his own stunts. I really respect him for it, and it's going to be great.
Lynn, you got any thoughts?
Not many. I'm not a film girly. I'm a book girl. I'm also sick of the Disney remakes, though. I'm a little bit over that. I'm like, give us a new idea. Although the last new idea, I think, was Wish, and that was about as mid as it gets.
Don't give me Star
And
Wars.
oh no, I'm not a Star. I've never seen any of the Star Wars movies either.
Really?
I grew up
Okay.
I grew up in a Harry Potter, Pirates of the Caribbean household.
Okay. No, I like those.
We
More so
watched those
Pirates, but
over and over again. Yeah. Big Harry Potter girl. But again, I like the books. So I'm not anti-Star Wars. I don't care about it.
yeah, Star Wars was never my biggest fandom. I played a game or two, seen the movies.
Yeah.
I think it's cool, and then it kind of just start to stop. My friend, he showed his girlfriend the movies, and then he's taking her through the Clone Wars show. I was like, I don't got that kind of time, so
yeah,
I understand.
Not anti. I could get into it.
Yeah, I want to walk her through them because she's never really seen them. But maybe one day. I don't know. Maybe I feel like the Star Wars franchise hasn't given me a reason right now to take her through it. I mean, for nostalgic reasons, just seeing it and because it's Star Wars, it's like yes. But like at least with Marvel stuff, because I know we've talked. Like she's kind of fallen off. She's been on the Marvel train. She came in at the end near the Endgame stuff and watched all of it right before Endgame just to be involved. And then after this Endgame stuff, she's kind of fallen off. And I feel like Marvel's kind of giving me a reason to get her to go back through some of the stuff. Possibly. We'll see. Yeah. We'll see next week. But yeah, it's funny that y'all mentioned you guys are tired of the Lilo and Stitch remakes. Or the Disney remakes, because Snow White basically paused anything that Disney is doing remake-wise. They're stopping all, like, not even, they haven't even gone into production with a lot of stuff, but they're just halting any development. And I felt like they would have done the same with Lilo and Stitch, and then the whole Moana remake, I think they would have done that next year, which, I don't even know. But yeah, I think it is kind of worn out. I will see this one. I'm not rushing to see this one. It comes out the same weekend as Mission Impossible, which is going to be fascinating. I think it'll win because it's Disney and it's Lilo and Stitch. It'll do just fine, and the kids and the family's going to show up for Memorial Day weekend. So like that's not. I think the question is it going to be good? Like, are people going to enjoy it? Yeah, I'm curious. I think the marketing. Yeah, go ahead.
To your point, like. I know a lot of people who are into Marvel comics sometimes get mad at the way the live action costumes look. And it's like, just because something works on a comic book page doesn't mean it's going to work on live screen, like in the live action, speaking practically. And I feel the same way with the Disney live action remakes. It's like, okay, yes, with technology today, you can make a really good CGI lion, but that takes away some of the emotion that we got from the Lion King because they were animated faces. So I think Stitch looks really good. I'm not sure about what's his name, Pickley, the green guy, Pickley, Pickley, right? I'm not super sold on his look. I think he looks better like animated. But that's I mean, same thing with like I never saw it, but Little Mermaid, like Flounder, and then Sebastian. It's like they just look like the animal, and that kind of just you lose something because of. You're making it look realistic. So,
good point.
I think that's a really good point that you kind of bring up.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. It could be really fun. Because I think the marketing behind it has been pretty good. The way they've been marketing Stitch, since last year, they've been throwing him in just different stuff without actually showing the movie, which is kind of what they did, I think, back in the day with the original one. So. That'll definitely be interesting. I forgot to mention Karate Kid Legends comes out.
I've actually never seen the original Karate Kid.
Okay.
So not because I didn't care. I just never got to it. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't know. I'm intrigued. I think it could be one of those fun movies. It's bringing an original character from the original films back, and then it's bringing in Jackie Chan, and it's.
Because I mean,
Could be this
Cobra
cool
Kai
thing.
is like kind of a spin-off sequel to, and
Yeah.
I've been hearing nothing but great things about it the last, I don't know how many years it's been on. So
Right.
I don't have any reason to believe that Karate Kid Legends will not do well.
Right. Yeah, I think think it has a really good shot just to do well. All of these films, oddly enough, I think they have a really good shot to just really do well. So I'm intrigued. Thunderbolts reactions are really good right now. Yeah, really, really good. Josiah, you're really high on this film compared to like the Fantastic Four, obviously. So how do you feel about these early reactions?
I think, I mean, I really like it. I think more so because of what you've said, Marvel's kind of like the train has slowed down quite a bit since Endgame. So I'm glad that it's doing well. I mean, I hope that they start to move. It doesn't necessarily need to be darker in tone. The movies moving forward, but I hope they move away from like the over the top humor aspect. I know you and I talked
Sure.
about that once before. Like I think 14 when Iron Man came out in 2008. And then being like in my 30s now, I'm like, all right, like I want something a little bit more mature than these nonstop jokes, which most these days most of them haven't really landed well.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that a movie like this is generating a lot of buzz with a lot of just side characters that, for most of which we haven't really seen. I mean, seeing like Florence Pugh, everybody loves Florence Pugh, she's fine. People like Sebastian Stan, he's fine. But getting Red Guardian from Black Widow, which overall wasn't the best movie to a lot of people, and then
Sure.
John Walker from Falcon Winter Soldier, and then some of the other characters. I know the Ant-Man movies haven't performed the best out of like all the different franchises the MCU has going on. But seeing Ghost back and then Taskmaster back from Black Widow, I'm just really glad that it seems to be doing well because it looks like a lot of fun. And considering how well the Suicide Squad movies have done, specifically the second one, I think it could be fun.
Lynn, your thoughts on Thunderbolts? I know you've not been on the Marvel train. What is your thought level?
Yeah,
on
your thoughts on something that you saw a trailer for and said, I don't care about this. Yeah, to give context, I was a big Marvel fan. I jumped on the train uber late in college. I had a really like Marvel obsessed college roommate. She was like, "You're gonna watch them all." So my New Year's resolution for 2019 was to watch all of the movies chronologically before Endgame came out. Cried like a baby in the movie theater with because it was like magical to be like coming in from the outside and see all of these people that had been watching the movies since they were children. And to be like, oh my gosh, I just joined like this community of people and now it's like this enormous event. So yeah, I watched Endgame, loved it. I watched some of the after stuff like the shows and the What If and some of those movies. And I kind of agree with you, Josiah, of like, why is it so corny? Like everything's like cheesy. And I didn't like it and I wasn't into it and it just got so convoluted with all of the multiverse things and I don't know, I was just kind of like, meh, it doesn't have the same like magic anymore. And so I do like some of the characters that are in the Thunderbolts movie. But it just kind of feels like, oh, we're just dragging this thing out. So Michael was so excited about all of these Thunderbolts reviews and was like, we might be back, and was so excited about it. So I'll go to any movie with him unless it looks really stupid. But I've been wrong about movies that look stupid before, aka Puss in Boots 2. So I'll go with him to the movie, and if it's good, it's good, and if it's not good, I don't want to see it.
I respect that. Quick question. So you never watched any like the X-Men or the other Spider-Man movies before all this Marvel MCU started, or?
Sort of.
Okay.
So my brothers, I have two younger brothers. I think I said that. And so they were big obsessed with like the original Spider-Man movies, and so I had seen snippets of that. But I was like, I don't care about this. I want to play Barbies. And so I like hadn't watched a ton of it. And I think maybe I had seen the Incredible Hulk, maybe I had seen a couple of the Iron Man, but it was like just like smatterings. And so I fell very deeply in love with Andrew Garfield in middle school. And so that kind of like pulled me into the Spider-Man universe. And yeah, so I kind of had just like sprinkles and crumbs up until 2019.
All right, right on.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I think you'll come around with these next few films. I think you'll come around. You'll jump back in and be like, "Ooh, this is fun," because it's Marvel. It's Marvel. So yeah, I am excited. I think these reactions are a really good thing, especially just the question is, as it gets to the end of this multiverse stuff, how they're gonna wrap it up, how they're gonna do it, because Captain America, the post credit scenes and stuff didn't do anything, and I thought it was going to do something and it didn't, and so then you got more questions. You go, okay, what are they gonna do in Thunderbolts? What are they gonna do in Fantastic Four? And it seems like with the Thunderbolts 2 post credit scenes, it seems like they're gonna start moving the needle. I think it's gonna start going somewhere. And then obviously Fantastic Four, I feel like it's going to even do the same thing too. So a lot to be excited about with these reviews and reactions for Thunderbolts. But next week, I will be seated to watch this film and just to see how it is. I'm excited about it. I just need it to be fun. It doesn't need to be the greatest Marvel film in the world. It just needs to be fun and give us a great story and just get us ready for Doomsday and Secret Wars. So that's it on the May front, Thunderbolts front, all that front. I think we got to get to it now. We have to. We're 19 minutes in. We haven't got to. We spent more time than I wanted to, and that's my fault because all this is more time than I wanted to on that stuff. But it's okay. We're gonna get into it. Let's get into Sinners.
We've been gone a long time. We back now. You twins? Nah, we cousins.
There are legends of people with the gift of making music so true. It can conjure spirits from the past and the future. This gift can bring fame and fortune.
Well, somebody take me in your eyes.
But it also can pierce the veil between life and death.
Listen here, this ain't no house party. Shit. Y'all ready to drink? Y'all ready to sweat till y'all stink?
You want some?
You keep dancing with the devil.
Careful, boy. You gonna bite off more than you can chew.
One day he's gonna follow you home.
We got us a problem, y'all.
What the hell going on?
Oh, we heard tale of a party. This world already left you for dead. I can save you from your fate.
You don't need no saving.
Yes, you do.
And you are?
I am your way out. Don't cry. It's all better now.
Yes, I lied to you. I don't believe in magic. Ghosts, demons. Just power. Somebody please take me.
We gonna kill every last one of you.
Hey, I ain't mean to scare you. Thought y'all done forgot about me in here. Come on, open the door, let me on out of here. Stay. It's you? Of course it's me. Open the door.
That ain't your brother.
Lie to you.
Yo, smell anything? I think I shot myself.
Sinners. Sinners, directed by Ryan Coogler. Lynn, let's start with you. We haven't started with you yet.
Me. Oh,
Give
no.
me your reactions to Sinners.
I didn't want to go. I thought it was gonna be.
True.
I thought it was gonna be demonic. Thought it was gonna give bad vibes and be dark and evil. And I was like, this is Holy Week. It's the day before Easter, or the day before Good Friday. Don't disrespect my Lord like that. So I was nervous, and I told Michael, I said, at the first whiff of anything demonic, I'm walking out of this theater, and you're coming with me. I'm also not a horror film person. I get scared easy. I really liked it. I don't have any bad things to say about it. It was not scary. There were a couple of jump scares at the beginning, and I thought I was cooked. I hid my eyes, and I was like, this is about to be a long 2 hours. But it was not scary. It was not dark or evil or demonic or anything like that. It was campy. It was fun. It was complex, and the acting was incredible. I'll get into that more later. But first impression, it was a darn good movie.
Josiah, go for it.
So one thing about me, I'm a big movie person, like Michael. So I make it my business to know things about movies I'm interested in. So,
yeah.
I knew about the end credit scenes, but I told a friend of mine who saw it today that there was. But Jaden saw it yesterday, and he didn't know there were mid credit scenes into post credit, so he missed it. He left.
Bro.
So I was telling him about it. He said, "What?" So I told him a little bit about it, and I found the TikTok where somebody recorded a bootleg, and I sent it to him.
Yeah.
He didn't say anything about it yet, but I'm like, man, he missed it.
Dang.
But Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan, I'm there. They're I think they're the best actor-director duo that we've had in I don't know how long. I also am not a very big horror movie person. Vampires, I guess I could deal with it. I think this movie was a lot tamer than Nosferatu was. But a really great movie, great performances, music, direction, everything. I thought it was great. Tyler, my wife saw it with me, and she really enjoyed it as well. So,
yeah, Josiah, you're going to wait till this weekend to see it, weren't you?
Yeah, originally. So our anniversary is coming up on the 29th, and we were going to go out of town to Columbus and everything. We were going to see it. But then Michael and Cornelius, they were talking about it, and they're like, we're going to get on the pod. I was like, I want to be in the pod. So fortunately, my wife was kind enough and loving enough to see it with me early. So I didn't miss out on the podcast, which we're doing right now. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. I was glad I got to see it early as opposed to, later.
Yeah, God bless Tyler for that. Came in clutch with that decision going, all right, we can go see this weekend. And it sounds like it was worth it. Yeah, I thought Sinners was great. It was a really, really good movie. The comment about the best duo, I think I gotta agree with you, man. I think, we start with Fruitvale Station, and then we go with Creed, and then Black Panther, and it's like, man, these two together, they really work so well. Together to create something really, really good. And this might be their best project. This might be their best project. And I think it's their most complex project too. And I think it was just really, 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 really well done. So fun fact for people that don't know, this movie was in a bidding war with all these studios. All the studios were after it. And it was kept under wraps for a while. All people knew is that Ryan Coogler was making an original movie, and that all the studios were bidding for it. And then Warner Brothers ends up winning the bid, and I think Warner Brothers is about to have a big year. With Minecraft hitting the way that it did, I don't think I expected it to hit that way. Now you have Sinners, an original film, which, original films are hard to come by these days. You get something original like this, and then in July they'll have Superman. I think they're going to hit big this year, and it's really exciting. And I'm really curious too, as we keep going and as the year keeps going, how they play this leading to award season. especially now that Oscar voters, this is crazy in itself. Oscar voters didn't have to watch all the films.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't required to watch all the films. So now they've made a requirement. You have to watch all the films in order to vote. Which again, it's the wildest thing to me to be on the board of the Academy, to be in the Academy, and to have a chance to vote, and you're not required to watch all the films. That's just so weird to me. So now they're required to watch all the films. So hopefully, I hope that bodes well for Sinners, because I feel like there's some negative energy I've already seen on Twitter. There's some negative energy from pundits and people that didn't like the movie, or people that just feel some type of way about the movie. And I hope that because people actually watched the movie, maybe that factors differently towards Sinners. Not sure how well it's going to do with the awards. I've kind of lost a lot of faith in the Academy, especially after Nora wins Best Picture. That's a whole other topic that I won't get into. But I've lost a lot of faith in the Academy. But let's get into it. Sinners.
One thing I did want to say real quick, also to your point, because of like what happened with Dune Part 2 with the Oscars, because a lot of people thought that it had to do with recency bias. So, because Dune Part 2, I think, also came out in March. So this is March, April, we're still in the first quarter of the year. So by the time August and all of them come around, they start doing the Oscar pushes. Are people still going to be talking about movies that came out in the first half of the year? So with the fact that they do now have to vote and have to see all the movies, and with the way that Sinners is doing right now, I think it's going to have a better chance at the award season. Not that I have a lot of faith in that, but better chance than Dune did. Because Dune, I was like, as great as Dune Part 2 was, in my opinion, it's like, how did it only get nominated for 2 things? It just doesn't make sense. And I would hate to see, because obviously that's based on a book, so that's not even an original idea. So I would hate to see that happen to an original film like Sinners and like somebody like Ryan Coogler. So I'm glad they did that. And like you said, it's a shame that it hasn't been a requirement before then, but
I also hope that especially since it's doing so well, and it's doing so well that, like, I think last night there's some sold out screenings. People were posting on Twitter, sold out screenings last night, sold out screenings on Monday. People in LA are talking about it's hard to go see it in IMAX in LA because it's in demand. Yeah, it's crazy.
A coworker of mine's seeing it again on Thursday. She saw it. Obviously, it came out on Thursday or Friday.
Yeah.
And she's already seen it again. So Tyler wants to see it again. It's just
there's people that seen it 2 or 3 times already. I'm like,
I wish, but
within a week, the time in a week, right? Within a week, it ain't even been a week yet. It's kind of crazy. But I'm wondering, and I said this to you, Joe, over text. I wonder if they put this film, like, after it comes out of theaters, obviously for a while. I wonder if they release it sometime in the fall for like a 1 week, 2 week engagement to bring that pushback to go rewatch, the biggest hit of 2025.
Yeah,
go see it. Like, I'm wondering if that's the play that they make, just to keep it a little bit more relevant, because it is opening so early in the year. But yeah, I don't know. I'm intrigued. to see what they do. I'm intrigued. So, all right, let's get into it. Sinners. Sinners feels there's so many layers to it. Like, Ryan Coogler said this from the jump when people figured out it was a vampire movie. He said that this was more than a vampire movie, and you can tell, like, there's a lot of things I feel like in the movie where you're like, you had questions about, but the only way for you to understand what it is you got to do a little bit of research on that stuff. Research about the South, research about the time, research about the era. So, I mean, like Sinners it's a real look at life in the South, told from a perspective that feels like it's kind of away from slavery, but not that far away from all that trauma, all that stuff that exists. What is your thoughts, Joe, on the Black trauma aspect being mixed in with the vampires in the 1930s vibe?
So I kind of he didn't. So Ryan Coogler didn't lean into that as much as I thought he was going to. He's not really. I mean, this is only his 5th film, so I can't say what he's known or not known for in that aspect. But we've seen a little bit of that in like Creed, I would say.
Yeah.
And then obviously Black Panther leads into that a lot. So with the marketing with the trailers, I thought it was going to be a little bit more like Jordan Peele and Get Out, where he was going to lean into the racial tones a little bit more. Which, I mean, like I said, I think the movie's great as is. So the fact that he didn't do that, but I do. I mean, it's interesting because, like, again, you see Cornbread and his wife and some people like out in the fields picking cotton, and then they mention the Klan at the beginning when they make the exchange for the building. It's like, hey, if we see any of your Klan friends, we're gonna. And then the guy's like, oh, the Klan doesn't exist anymore. And obviously, what we know from history, it's like, come on, bro, you're seriously trying to say that it doesn't exist, especially in the South. I thought that it was really, and I think really, it was interesting. Like, again, with the twins being gangsters, so it's like, especially in that time, to see 2 black men being as wealthy as they were, I thought that was interesting too. So it's not so much like they were. It wasn't like I guess going back to Get Out in a situation where they were trapped, and it's like they have all the power and all of that. It's more so like there just happen to be vampires, and but they're still gangsters. They bought the club. They have all this money that they're throwing out, and then how we didn't spend a whole lot of time with the twins in a traditional sense of the film, since it takes place in a day. So I still sometimes can't remember which twin is which. But how, like, at the beginning when they were robbing the truck, he just shot him in the street. And he didn't worry about like the cops coming or anything like that. So I thought the way that he addressed the racial stuff worked well for the film, because he could have taken it in a completely like different direction.
Yeah, I agree. It was definitely different than I thought it would be. I definitely thought it would be more of a Jordan Peele approach. That's a good comparison. I thought it would be more Jordan Peele approach. But he went a little different, which was very, very interesting.
And with Remick being Irish, so I thought this trailers, I mean, people, you can assume like, okay, he looks like a white guy, but he's actually Irish, and the way that tied into it.
I didn't even think about
even the Native Americans in the begining.
Yeah.
So I just thought, like, based on the trailers, I was like, oh, white vampires, black people, okay, racial tones, conversation. But with him just being Irish, that completely kind of changed the conversation as well. So I didn't know. I mean, because just because the actor's Irish doesn't mean he's going to be playing an Irishman. But the fact that that's what it was, that also took it in a different direction than what I was expecting.
Oh man, Lynn, what is your thought as somebody that's white and you're watching this 1930s horror-esque 2 black gangsters like movie about vampires that mixed with black trauma? Like, for you, you said you enjoyed the movie. Like what were your thoughts watching some of all of this?
Yeah. If I go out at any point, I'm terribly sorry. The Wi-Fi is being real spitty with me.
Yeah, it's being sketch around here.
I think that, like, as a white person that has educated myself, is married to a black man and is family with people of color, I think there were so many. I don't know who the dryer thinks she is. She's doing a lot. I think there were a lot of things that I went, oh, and I was like, it's not spoon-fed to you. Like, Ryan does not come straight out and say, like, hey, the vampires are an allegory for racism, and, like, don't worry. Like, he doesn't assume that you don't know, because you should know. Right? Yep. You should be educated, and you should understand what he's talking about without him come right out and tell you this movie is about racial tension and about the fact that despite, all of the things that like the community that they had and the resources that they had and the family that they had, they could only be free for one night. And that was like what Stack said to Smoke in the doorway was like, we'll never be free, dude. Like, this is the only way. I think that it's going to go over a lot of people's heads. I think for people, for the white folk out there, they're just going to think it's a fun movie about vampires, and then it's campy, and it's about violence and fun. I don't think that they will get the message, except for the fact that there's like a shot literally that they zoom in on the Klan hat sitting on the hillbillies. I don't know how else to describe them, the white folks' bed. So I think it's gonna go over a lot of people's heads, and they won't understand how like deeply rooted the story is and how important it is to like the Black community. And then, like as Josiah was talking about, you know, for someone that is Irish to say like, I know what it feels like to be marginalized and oppressed, and for, you know, the indigenous people to come up to the door and attempt to help white folk, and for them to be turned down because of the way that they look, which I thought was honestly kind of funny, for them to be like, God bless you, see you, like best of luck, you're choosing your own adventure here. I think for me, I was able to recognize a lot of those things, but it took education, and it took intentionality, because from my privilege, I could watch this and just be like, oh yeah, it's a fun movie about vampires. But you have to like actually do the work and care enough to think about it and get what they're trying to say.
And that's really interesting, because I know like my wife is white as well. I don't know if you've ever seen pictures or anything, and we watched a lot of movies for Black History Month, so we had a lot of course. I was hoping this movie was going to come out during Black History Month, but
I hear that.
I think I know in a review I watched somebody talking about this actually being a great like Easter film, so I think it also works well coming out when it did for Easter. So I think either or could have been great, but I would have loved to see it during Black History Month. I thought that would I thought that would have been great.
Yeah, this movie is just it's just so beautifully layered. How Ryan has written these different perspectives. Obviously, it's from the perspective of Black protagonists, but then you have the Asian side of the things, you know, and then
I didn't even say that.
Yep, and then you have the Irish side of things, which is really cool. And I think the way he went about doing and writing these characters were really respectful, and I think it was just like, it just speaks volume to the character of Ryan Coogler. The fact that, I mean, he took this seriously enough to not go, I mean, he could have just wrote 2 little notes about these things and not really felt the need to dig just a little bit deeper, right? Obviously, he has 2 hours and 12 minutes to really touch on what he wants to touch on, and you can't put everything in there. But I thought the stuff that he did and the way that he did it, it was good enough for me to go, I want to go learn just a little bit more. And so, like on Twitter and probably even on Facebook, I haven't been on Facebook and seen anything, or Instagram Reels, but like I know even like on TikTok, like you see these people that are so enthralled. I don't know if that's a good word. Is that a good word? Enthralled?
Great word.
That's a great word. Okay, great. Thanks, hon. Thanks, Joe. That people are just love this film and are so invested in it that they're like, I want to go learn just a little bit more and see the little hidden gems, to see the Easter eggs that speak to history and all this other stuff. So I just think it's just phenomenal how like Ryan has really just poured. You can tell he poured his heart into it. And I mean, he wrote that whole note a couple days ago and put it out and said, telling people that thank you for coming to see this movie, and that it meant a lot to him. And you can tell he just loves movies. He loves his craft, and he loves storytelling. So that's one of probably the biggest things I've taken away from just really watching this movie and taking it in, and even just seeing the reactions. Michael B. Jordan. Let's just start there. Michael B. Jordan as Smoke and Stack. Joe, you can go first.
Okay. I have something to say super quick. I'm so sorry.
Go ahead.
Shut the dryer up.
Sure.
I think that Ryan is so smart in the way that he did it, because I said this to Michael as we were driving away from the theater. I was like, at first I was kind of like, why does it have to be vampires? Like, why vampires? Like, whatever. And then I was like, because white people aren't going to go see a movie where Klan members attack Black people and people of color, because that makes them uncomfortable. But if we make it vampires,
and it's tired.
Sure, but it makes white people uncomfortable. Like that's where white guilt comes in. I don't want to watch a movie where people that look like me attack the Black community or like people of color, right? That makes them uncomfortable. And so to make it be vampires, but also be like, I just thought was so smart. That's all I had to say. Sorry, Josiah.
No, you're fine. I know I saw somebody, I don't remember what it was, but they were talking about like, do we really need like another like slavery movie, you know? So like you said, it's tired. It's like, okay, we should by now understand these things, and we don't need to keep like driving it home. Like with movies like The Help or 12 Years a Slave, like great movies, but it's like, we get it, you know, we understand. But Michael B. Jordan, I mean, it's Michael B. Jordan. I think I'm a big fan of his. I know he's dabbled in like directing himself, and he really wanted to stretch himself as an actor by playing dual roles, playing twin brothers. I thought he did just a phenomenal job, like he always does, playing these two brothers with the accent and all of that. So I never had any doubts, you know. So I think that's all I can say.
Yeah, he was great. He was really great. And you know, I think the hard part about playing two roles is you got to make them different. You look the same, so you have to do things that set you apart. Like I think of Lindsay Lohan in Parent Trap. You know, she did things like one of the sisters was from London, so she had to have that accent, and you can distinctly tell between the two sisters. And so Michael had to do the same thing here, and I think he did a really good job of bringing two different characters that are brothers that look alike, but they're completely different. And so I thought it was well acted.
Because I told Tyler that with being twins, I'm glad they just didn't do the thing where this one has a beard and this one doesn't.
Right.
You know, because that's typically one has a beard, one doesn't. And yes, like Ryan did the whole one kind of dresses in more blue colors and one dresses in more red colors, but it was their personalities and the way that they acted were different enough. It wasn't just like, oh, I have a beard, I don't, and then that's the difference between the two of us.
Yeah. That's kind of where that's where my interest is peaked. I am so interested in personalities and like who the character is. Like I don't know if it's my counselor brain or what. Like I just get so entranced with the characters themselves. And so like the scene that you talked about earlier where Smoke is in town and without hesitation just like shoots two people. And does not care. Like Smoke is very calculated. And he's cold, and like Stack is more charming, and he can get people to do what he wants just by talking to them. Like he's just loading up the car with all of these people. And I love that. Like I love the nuances of each of the characters. And I know that for Michael B. Jordan, like that had to have taken a lot of work and a lot of practice to figure out those two characters and how they work together. Because even despite the fact that he's playing both of the characters, you can tell how deeply they care about each other and how deeply they need each other. They've always leaned on each other. Which is why Smoke almost went with Stack at the end, because he's like, I can't do this without you. I'm a vampire, but I still can't do this without you. Like, you have to come with me. And like Smoke's body was like moving forward, and they all yanked him back. Like, I just think to be able to play two separate characters, but they look exactly the same, and they're twins. But they just have tiny little things that are different about each of them, but also be able to like, you can tell how deeply they care about each other. It's just so cool. And I
don't know if Michael, if you want to, you probably want to get this more towards the end, but I was telling my friend earlier, like that's what like broke my heart, the post-credit scene where when Sammy says like, oh, like how do you feel about that day? The first thing he said was, it was a great day because that was the last time I saw my brother. That was the first thing that he said, not the music, not everything else. Like, that was the last time I saw my brother. So it showed just how much he misses him and how close they were, you know. And I'm like, I can't imagine, especially being twins. But it's like, out of everything else, you know, he was with what's her name, Hailee Steinfeld. I can't remember her character's name. Mary. He was still with Mary, and he was like alive and everything. But he's like, I miss my brother, you know. And so the way that he kind of weaved the relationship into the film, and the fact that you could feel that was just, you know, and then the fact that he couldn't really bring himself to kill his brother who's a vampire now.
Right.
It was just powerful stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Just
think
like the first line that they say when he says, like, y'all brothers or y'all twins or something. And Stack goes, nah, we cousins.
Yeah.
I
with
love
a
that.
smile on his face.
Mhm.
Nah, we
As they're like
cousins.
rolling up.
And I think Michael B. Jordan's his portrayal and his just him in this whole movie's performance, it like you could feel it ring throughout the whole cast. Like I just think, Delroy Lindo as Delta Slim, like I thought he did a really good job. Wunmi Mosaku as Annie, I thought she did a fantastic job. And then you got Hailee Steinfeld as Mary. She did a good job for the role that she had. Jack O'Connell as Remick. And then you got Miles Karen as Sammy, a.k.a. Preacher Boy. And I think this might be a career-defining performance for him. Like, this is, like, kind of his debut. What did y'all think about Preacher Boy? Like, he was pivotal to the story. Like, everything about him mattered. What were y'all thoughts on Preacher Boy? Lynn, you can go ahead and start.
Well, first off, that first scene where he's holding the guitar and his dad's telling him to put it down, I nearly peed myself with the jump scare.
Oh man, that's what I knew we was in for. When that jump scare hit, I was like, "Oh, Ryan, what you got?"
And I didn't even see like what popped up on the screen. I'm assuming it was a vampire or something, but the loud noise itself just sent me like reeling. I didn't like it. He's incredible, dude. Like his voice does not match his face or his character. Like his face is he's so little looking, and like he just seems so innocent. And I think that's what like that's like another big driver of the story is like Sammy's a preacher boy. He's never left home. Like he's never gone anywhere, and the only thing that he has is music. Like that's the only thing that he's got that like takes him somewhere else. And like this dream that he has. And I've seen a lot of, again, I'm going to dive into character stuff. I've seen a lot of discourse about how there's almost like a devil and an angel on his shoulder, and like Smoke and Stack represent like the devil and the angel, because Smoke is saying like, stay at home, stay at church, do what you need to do, or else I'm going to take you out. And then Stack is like, play music, go where you need to go, defy your dad, those things. And so I just think kind of like his innocence of like, this first night of I get to play in front of people, I have sexual intercourse with a woman, like he's just having this big awakening all in one night. And he says at the end, like, well, I guess I'm jumping ahead, but he says like, that was the best night of my life. Before the vampires came, that was the best night of my life. And golly, his voice is like decades older than who he actually is. Like he genuinely sounds like he could be from the 30s. That kid goes crazy. And I agree with you, Michael. I think he's got nowhere to go but up from here.
Joe?
I mean, I don't really know what else to add, but yeah, I mean, really good performance, great vocals, and I love, the kind of angel and devil shoulder thing, because the fact that the whole time he thought it was, it's like that, they both believed in him, that's why they lied about whose guitar it really belonged to. He's like, no, that was our dad's guitar. Like, it wasn't so-and-so. But he's like, it kind of reminds me of Coco. It's like, oh, I have so-and-so's guitar. Like, I'm going to sing and I'm going to do all this. And it's like, you got a gift. You can be successful. Like, that's so-and-so's guitar. Versus it's like, no, it's just our dad's guitar. And we want you to have it. But, like how he even said, before he even said, you stay at home, stay at church, or I'll kill you. He was like, oh, it's in that same scene, I think, where he's like, you're a good kid and all that. It's like, you leave that evil stuff to us. Because he was like, almost like, we're gangsters, we're bad guys. And then we learn a little bit more sort of why they came back. Because I think Mary mentions that, oh, you ripped off the Irish and the other peoples too. So you're playing, you're trying to play both sides. And obviously it's just the two of you. So you probably had to leave and come back here. Or else, it would have been bad news for you. So he's like, hey, look, we went down a bad road. I don't want that for you. I want you to, live a good life and be safe.
Yeah, definitely. They wanted. I mean, at least he did. Smoke wanted the best. Really wanted the best for him, which is crazy. And he ends up surviving that whole night, which is wild. There's a lot of pivotal scenes and really cool scenes and moments throughout this whole film. There's way too many probably to even touch, but we can touch on some of them right now.
We'll be right back.
Yeah,
you
for
can
sure.
keep going. I'll be back.
Okay, for sure. Let's talk about that ancestry scene, man. That ancestry scene. Like that scene, I think that everybody is talking about when everybody thinks about that movie. The vastness of it, how it was shot, everything that was in it. Like, what was going through your mind as you was watching that scene?
Truthfully, I was like, this is where the devil comes in. I was like, this is where it goes. It's like, this is where we walk out. He's like ready for it. Because I remember at the beginning, they were like, there are some people whose musical gift, it rips the veil between good and evil and it allows spirits to come through. And I was like, I'm drawing the line, like I'm prepared. But I was just like, someone in like traditional African garb showed up and they were dancing. And I was like, oh, okay, just not scary. I'm okay.
Yeah.
And just kind of the way that the music became louder, the voices got softer, the entire scene slowed down, and it was just like hyper focused on the people that were dancing around them. And then when like hip hop artists started coming in, I was like, yo, this is about to go crazy. So I was just excited. And I think at that point in the film, I was the most locked in because I was like, I wish my eyes could go bigger so I could see more. Because I just felt like there were so many details in that. I was like, I want to see all of the individuals that have been brought through the veil to come and hear Sammy's music. And I was just kind of frozen. And I think I remember leaning over to you and going like, holy cow, this is yeah. So I was blown away by that scene. Musically, that's one place where I'm like, I can turn on my film brain and understand like, oh, this is really well done. Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, it's like the tracking shot, like just tracks. It starts at miles, and then it starts to track around the whole juke joint, and then it just changes from era to era. And they even paid compliments to like the Asian culture there, like the Asian culture we seen showing up. It was like, I think we were reading it was like Chinese opera of some sorts or something like that, where it's just like, I thought that was really dope how they really paid compliments to another heritage and showed some respects to that too. And I thought, like, I don't know, it was just really, really cool. It was like we kind of were taken out of that world in a way.
Yeah.
But we were seeing it from just like a different point of view, mixed with different elements, which was super dope. I thought it was probably one of the coolest scenes. It might be one of the coolest things we're gonna see this year, which I thought was dope.
It was really cool. And then for them to like fully zoom out, and for Remick to be standing there, that like sent chills down my spine. I was like, oh no.
And the building was like exploded, kind of burned down.
Yeah, which I read a comment, and it was like, despite the fact that the building was on fire around them, they kept dancing. Just kind of paying homage to like, again, just Black culture, that like fight like continued oppression. It just keeps going and refuses to be torn down.
It's so many, it's stuff like that where it's just like there's just lots and lots of symbolism, and lots of things that like maybe they were intentional for Ryan Coogler or not, but it's those types of things that makes this film and just makes movies in general, when you can think about perspectives and thinks about what it means to you or how you read this it just makes it that much better.
Yeah.
Which I love so much. Joe, what are your thoughts on that ancestry scene? You know, that one shot we're going around and we're seeing these different eras. Like, what was going through your head during that scene?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Good. So, I seen a couple of reviews before the film, and I heard some people talk about a scene. It's like a musical number. They're saying, like, if it was any other movie, it would have been felt out of place, and they'd be like, "What are you doing?" Like, kind of taking you out of the movie. But they were saying Ryan Coogler did it in such a way that it was great, you know, and everything. And so I think it was such a testament to Ryan Coogler as a director to be able to do something like that and have it work so well and fit so well in the film. And it looked incredible. The one shot and showing kind of Sammy kind of like walking through and, you know, talking about like the portal, like tying it back to the quote at the beginning and the intro, and like traveling through time and just seeing how much music has impacted, like how much through music the Black community has impacted culture and all of that in different eras and locations. And then I liked how it showed like what you said about Remick being outside, and it's like the building burned down, but it's like because he's a vampire, that's what he sees inside, or it's like his senses being heightened, and he's standing there and like, there it is, like that's exactly what I'm looking for. And I just really liked the tension with that, you know, how they tried to get in earlier and they were playing the banjo and everything, and they're like, yeah, I don't think so, we're not gonna let you. And he's like, all right, we're gonna walk away now, but we're gonna walk real slow just in case you change your mind. And so
that was wild.
The fact that they were just out there, and part of me, I made the joke to Tyler, I was like, so did they just turn everybody who can just sing into vampires? Because when they were singing, they sounded good too. And you know, I would have liked to see them join in the song with, it's like, how would the banjo and like the Irish songs work with the juke joint, what they're doing. But they even brought that up. He's like, this is a juke joint, like this is Black people music, you know. It's like, we don't want that, like that's not what we're looking for. And then also one thing we hadn't talked about yet was even Hailee Steinfeld's character, how they kind of made her like half Black, like she's like a white passing Black person. So they're like, hey, you know, you're still here. And they're like, because they even said, what about her? They're like, she's family. And they're like, oh, okay, I see how it is. So just Ryan Coogler, I mean, he's just such a great director. And of course, like, I think a lot of people, like, it's a great idea, the scene and all that. But I feel like if it were other people, it'd be like, it was a great idea, but the execution just was not there. Like, you weren't able to pull it off. And he was able to do both.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said, like, about Hailee Steinfeld's character, and I'm going to get ahead of myself because I get so excited to talk about these things. But, like, I've like read a couple of things where they compare a lot of the characters to, like, the 7 deadly sins, of, like, Slim being gluttony because he couldn't stop drinking, or maybe Smoke being wrath, or just whatever. But they were saying that, like, Mary, Hailee Steinfeld's character, was pride because she was white passing. She believed that she could do it. She was like, look at me, like they'll respond to me better than they will to you. And in doing so, she actually endangered everyone. And
she was the perfect person to go back in. Like, they're like, we can't get in, but you can get back in. And so, like you said, it just And in that moment when she goes, are you gonna let me in? And he's like, yeah, come on in. You just go, crap, there it goes. Like, we're screwed. So yeah, just a lot. Like, there's just a lot of really cool things within that. And I forgot what we were talking about.
No, we were just talking about the ancestry scene, and then we went.
Oh,
and then we were talking about and Josiah mentioned how.
I remember the other thing I was going to say.
Yeah.
Sorry, I remember the other thing I was gonna say. Of like. Don't have a person with ADHD come on a podcast to talk about me. Of Remick, the Irish vampire, of him, like, the reason he wanted to come in, And Josiah, I think you said this, like, you know, were they only biting people that could sing well? The reason that he wanted to come in was because he wanted Sammy, right? He wanted Sammy's talent. He wanted Sammy's voice. He wanted Sammy's connection to music, indicative of like white culture leeching off of black culture and taking things and saying, I want this for myself, and then not giving credit where credit is due, of like, you know, black culture influencing so much of music, rock music, country music, jazz music, all the things. I just think Ryan is so sneaky, like the way he sneaks those things in, that it's not glaringly obvious. But when you understand history, you go like, oh, this makes sense. Yeah. I had another funny thing to say. I'll find it later.
What do we think about I was reading a tweet today about Stack letting Mary go outside. Do we think Stack, I think that honestly that kind of set everything in motion, how he let her go outside all for some change and for some money, right? Because Mary's passing for white, so she can go out there and maybe get that money that they saw. What do we think about, like, should Stack have let Annie go in the first place now that we've seen like how all this stuff has kind of unraveled? Joe, what do you think?
So I think kind of what Lynn was saying about her being prideful, because he already done left her back where they were, like in Chicago or something, and she followed him there, and he was like, I told you, like, I didn't want you here. I thought, maybe not going to your mom's funeral would have communicated the message. And then he really she's like, aside from his brother, the one person that he could be real and like vulnerable with. He says, hey, I love you and I want you to be safe. And that's far away from me, whatever. But he's also super hardcore and stern, and he's like the initial one who turned them away. Like, yeah, I don't think so. Get out of here, because he smoked, right? That smoke. Or was that Stack?
Was he in red or blue? I'm trying to think.
I think he was in red. That's Stack.
That's Stack. Yeah. Stack.
But he was the one standing in the middle of the doorway, where his brothers kind of listened to the music. It's like, okay, like they kind of got a groove going, And but with Hailee Steinfeld being the one to kind of wear him down, saying, hey, these are good people. They're just trying to have fun. You turn them away. Maybe they need help. You can't just, you shouldn't be this super hard guy or something all the time. And so I think that maybe he shouldn't have let her go outside, but he already made it clear that he didn't want them to come in there. But the type of relationship they have, she's able to like kind of talk him down into him kind of letting her go out. So I think it was just one of those things, not him being careless because there's a group of people in here. So if she screamed or something, they would just come running out. I think it was more so because he has a soft spot for her, and she knows that. She was able to say, I'm going to go talk to them. Let's see if they have any money, and let's invite them inside. What's to hurt? So I don't think it was just him kind of just being coward or being reckless, letting her go. Like, it's not like he's letting her walk all the way to town through the woods by herself at night. It's just, they're right outside,
Yeah.
So that's kind of my answer.
Okay. Lynn, what do you think about Stack letting Annie go out there?
Mary.
Yeah, Mary. I keep saying Annie. Forgive me.
I think he was desperate. I mean, she read him to filth. She was like, you have Italian wine and you have Irish beer, and you need money and you're not making it. I think also from her perspective, she didn't give a rip about her husband. She wanted to be with him. And I think that was her like desperate attempt to be like, let me do this thing for you, because then maybe we can be together and you'll stop shoving me away. So yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised that he let her. I think he was desperate because Smoke was like, we're not making the money that we need to be making, and we're going to be screwed. So yeah.
Speaking of those, just thinking about Stack and Mary, and then Smoke and Annie, just thinking about those relationship moments I thought were done really well too. With,
I
again,
love Annie.
very limited time, and Coogler found a way to sneak in those moments that I think, even though I don't know these characters long enough, you still feel something. You're invested and you're curious about their relationship, and those little moments where each of the respective parts they just communicate with each other, I thought was so valuable to the story, even though we didn't get the full picture. We only get what we get from what they say and what's being discussed. So
because I thought because when he was with Annie, he tells her, he's like, I love you and I miss you.
Mm-hmm.
And then it kind of jumped to the other brother talking to Hailee Steinfeld, and he was like, telling them how much he cared. I literally thought he was going to say, I love you and I miss you.
Yes.
So it almost seemed like they were both going to say the same thing. So it's like, even though they're brothers, even though they're gangsters, they both still feel this way about them. But it's the other way. He just went a little bit more of like, because I love you, I want you far away from me, because at least you'll be safe. And we don't have to be together because at least you'll be safe. And that's the most important thing.
Yep.
Yeah, I loved those moments, those like super sweet and tender moments, where you kind of can see, their like tough exteriors kind of melt off, and for them to kind of both be able to like be softer and say like, this relationship is important to me, but I've chosen other paths, or like Hurt has, because I mean like, Smoke and Annie lost a baby, like they lost a child. And so that Hurt clearly like drove a wedge between them. But I love Annie's character, and I just think like Wunmi did such a good, incredible job at like portraying her, because she's such a deep character. And like for her to be like a bigger woman, she's not small, for her to be a bigger woman, and for that to not be used against her, or for her to not be like hypersexualized, or for her to not be made fun of in that way, but she's a loved woman that like does the best that she can to protect someone that she cares about, and is like pivotal to the storyline. Like she's the one that ends up attempting to save all of them, like with the garlic and with the silver and with the wooden stakes and whatnot. So I just think that was really valuable, and I appreciated her character so much. She was one of my favorites for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited for her as an actress. She's getting more parts. I've been seeing her in stuff here and there, and I'm excited that like she's just continually to stay booked, and people are using her to to their advantage to tell a good story. But she's also she's a great actress. So I'm curious to see like how this role plays down the road for award stuff, like whether it's strong enough or not for awards. She did a fantastic job at portraying Annie. So definitely.
I didn't realize she was in Marvel.
Yeah, she's in Loki.
I didn't realize it until an interview.
Yeah, she played a TVA agent, and then she was in Deadpool and Wolverine, TVA agent. But yeah. Which curious to see if she'll show up in these next Avenger movies. So we'll see. All right, this is the big debate right now. I've been seeing on Twitter. Grace, we love Grace so dearly. We do. But
shout out to Grace.
Grace got chaotic. We get it. We get why Grace got chaotic. We get it. Your child's on the line. Your child's being threatened. Husband's outside. He's a vampire. We get it. We get it. You're getting chaotic. Should she have let them come in? That's the debate. The debate is like, people are saying they get why she did it and they would have done the same thing. And you got people all over here that's saying they know why she did it, but they still don't think she should have done it. What do y'all think? Lynn, you go first.
I'd have killed her as soon as she started making the Molotov cocktail.
Sheesh.
I read that energy quick. I get her. I understand her. He's threatening your kid, who's defenseless and helpless. Your husband's gone. So you've got nobody. And to like, again, bring like context into it. I mean, she's an Asian American woman on her own. And so she's got nobody. And so I get her wanting to be like, let's just kill them. But she just wasn't thinking clearly because she was worked up. And there were so many more vampires than there were them. So her irrational brain took over. And yeah, I read that as soon as she was behind the counter, she's muttering to herself and making things. And I've been like, Grace, knock it off, or you're getting the boot. So yeah, no, I don't think she should have let them in.
Joe?
Right there too, man. I mean, of course, everybody can understand why she did what she did, but it's like, I'm trying to think of a good example. Have you both seen A Quiet Place?
Mm-hmm.
So remember the part where he's walking with his son from like the waterfall, and there's that guy there by the tree, and he screams, and he's trying to tell him like, don't do it. It's like, dude, like, you're not the only person here, okay? Like, I understand your daughter's being threatened and your husband's already gone and it's just you, but you can't just make that decision for everyone.
Right.
I don't think I probably would have tried to keep her in. I wouldn't have just thrown her out. It's like, hey, if you want to go, then go. But it's like they had a strategic advantage being inside. It's like they specifically cannot come in here until we invite them. And you can make a Molotov cocktail all you want, but you could go to the second floor and throw it out at them. You could stand in the door and throw it out. So they did have a tactical advantage of being inside while they were coming up with their game plan. And again, just because you're freaking out, there's other people in here. You can't just do things that put all of us at jeopardy like that. Yeah. So I thought they were at least going to try to like knock her out. It's like that's usually what they do. They just punch her and she's knocked out. Oh, sorry.
Exactly.
That's
what I would have done.
But no, they didn't do that. And then she was like, they were trying to tell her not to. She's like, come on, it was like, you idiot. Like, why would you do that? So did you guys? I don't know if did you see it in IMAX?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Because I didn't. I don't. Because at first I was that exactly. Because I was like the whole movie. I was like, this is supposed to be an IMAX. Did they just? Why is this like a regular screening? But as soon as they came in, then I saw the screen. I was like, oh, okay, this is exciting. Like
it's on.
I didn't expect that.
I wasn't ready to go there, but let's go there. Let's go there. Let's talk about the IMAX experience. Let's talk about the IMAX experience. How much I keep trying to tell my wife, I'm like, we got to see it in IMAX. This is why we have to see it in IMAX. Mm-hmm. And it's the way those moments, like even the ancestry moment, it spread it up. The screen got wide. It's those moments where
I didn't notice.
Yeah,
I didn't notice that.
It did. Oh yeah, it spread for that scene too. So you got to see like the full body of it. Yeah. And even in that scene where she says, bring them in, come on in, and then it felt like it was a video game. We're watching a video game cutscene, and it just go, all right, time to play.
I love that.
It was so cool. What were your thoughts, Joe? You can go first. I kind of already know where Lynn's gonna go, but like, what are your thoughts on just the IMAX frame and like what it did for you?
I enjoyed it. That was like my third time seeing a movie in IMAX. Technically, I know it wasn't 70 millimeter, but that aside, it was like the third time. And so just seeing it like on a bigger screen, it's just a lot more, you get a lot more out of it. And it's just, and then of course, part of the movie going experience, like what you were saying about Endgame earlier, is the people that you're with. But also the setting, the atmosphere, so the sound, and then also watching a movie like this in those nice recliner chairs where you can like extend your legs, like that made it a lot more enjoyable. So it's like sit back and watch what's happening while you're feeling comfortable. I just thought I just really enjoyed it, and I like that they have IMAX. And so for certain movies, it just adds another layer that. Like going back to A Quiet Place, seeing that in a packed out theater and everybody being dead silent because of it really like immerses you into the world and it really like enhanced it for me. So seeing that and then having a big moment where the screen kind of extends, like, all right, like get ready, I think is something that you're not going to get on a regular screen and you're not going to get it at home. It's just one of those, if you didn't see it in IMAX, it's still a great movie. You can appreciate it, but you just miss something.
I gotta know, like, is there a way that they can transfer that to like Blu-ray? Because man, I want to go buy a big screen, set it up in my house, pop in that specific movie, and just watch those scenes and just feel immersed. I feel like they have to transfer that to the disc because, like, man, like you just gotta need it. You gotta need it. It's not the same.
Oh, that's hard though. I don't know if they can, because when my friend and I went to see The Phantom Menace for the anniversary, I don't remember seeing it in theaters as a kid, but seeing that pod race scene on the big screen with the sound, I was like, you know what? This is actually really fun, you know? And you can only buy, unless you were like a Kardashian or something, you can only buy such a big TV, unless you have a custom fit movie theater like in your house. I just don't think that's why the movie theater industry is so important, because you just can't replicate that anywhere else. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So you can try. I just don't think I don't think you can actually do it.
Sweetie, what are your thoughts on? I mean, we've talked obviously, but give your thoughts on the IMAX.
It was super cool.
My wife is the least pickiest person when it comes to this stuff.
Really?
So when I'm explaining all this stuff to her, she's like, "It's cool, but I don't need it. I can just watch the movie and be okay."
I think that's how Tyler is too. She just doesn't. She doesn't get it.
She doesn't get it. Yeah, I mean, like, that moment specifically was like, holy cow, right? Like, I knew as soon as the screen did that, I was like,
time to buckle in.
Let's go. But beyond that, like, Michael's like, we gotta see it at a 70 millimeter. We gotta see it at a 70 millimeter. Like, no, we
I'm
didn't.
itching. I'm itching for that 70 millimeter. That's why I need them to re-release it, because our schedule, I realized in the next couple weeks, I'm like, I don't know if there's any way that they're going to still be showing it. And so I'm like, I need that re-release in 70 millimeter so I could drive all the way up to Indiana and go, boom, I can watch it again.
Same.
Gotta watch it again. I'm going to shout out Autumn Durald, a female cinematographer who led the charge for this movie, shot this movie, did everything for this movie for Ryan. Autumn did an incredible job. It's the way we saw the movie, the way we were able to view this movie, whether you watched it on a normal movie screen and whether you watched it on IMAX. Autumn Durald killed the crap out of this, and I think that award for me, or that nomination for me, should be an easy shoe-in for Oscars. And even looking at award season, Autumn should really be in the mix, or the cinematographer for this film should really be in the mix. As we look at award season, as we look at all that stuff, it should really be in the mix. So, going back to the Grace thing, there's a few things I want to add on Grace letting them in. I thought was interesting. She had the Mazel Tov, not the Mazel Tov, not Mazel Tov. What's it called?
The cocktail.
Yeah,
Molotov
the cocktail. Molotov cocktail. I was right. I said it wrong. But what boggled my mind is that she lit it on fire. And like, okay, that's smart. Like, you using fire. But then she throws it at Remick, and Remick hits it to the wall, and it becomes useless, which makes me even more frustrated that she even let them in.
I mean, I don't think nobody could have predicted that, unfortunately. However,
no, that's fair.
I
don't
know. Can you burn vampires? Like, is that a good way that you kill them, by burning them?
Maybe,
because I know
slow
traditionally
slow.
I don't know. That's just because the whole not being able to come in without inviting them. I never heard that before. And so I was talking to my friend about this, and she's like, she likes a vampire. I was like, that's a thing. That's a typical vampire thing. I know sometimes some of them, they can turn into bats and fly around. The whole can't go in the sun, sure. Needing to drink blood, sure. But the whole, needing to be invited thing. So as far as I know, I thought it was just the stake in the sun that you killed vampires. So, but in that situation, I would be willing to try anything. But like you said, it just makes it so worse that Remy just hit it in the wall, and they're in a barn, basically, like a giant barn, and then it just started catching on fire, and like now you're basically outside because it really, like you said earlier, Lynn, about when Hailee Steinfeld left to go talk to him, your heart just sinks because you're like, no, like you know what's about to happen. But after she kills, Michael B. Jordan, I thought they were just going to keep everybody away from the room and talk to him in a minute. But he told everybody to leave. I was like, you're telling them all to leave? Like, then, that's, they told everybody, all those people, just as soon as they just walked out, I'm like, that's game over right there. So then when he burns down the place, then it's fair game. Like, there is nowhere that they could hide because everything's on fire. And she killed her husband and she caught on fire, like, almost immediately. I was like, you're not even going to try to make it out of this? Because one side note, one thing, given the nature of the film, they never really addressed, but I'm like, his daughter, their daughter doesn't know what happened. Cornbread's wife's probably wondering where he's at in the morning. Like, all these people just died because they got burnt up, when the sun came up. And it's like, there's nobody left to say, hey, everybody turned into vampires and they're not coming back. So everybody's going to, you know what I mean? So I thought that was just kind of interesting. That
they were going to die anyways.
Yeah.
Because the clan was coming the next day to kill them.
Oh man,
I forgot about that. Yeah,
nuts.
So, but it's just their bodies are just gone without a trace, and nobody's going to know anything.
Exactly. So it's not like a crime scene that it would have been had the clan ended up being. It's just I don't know how many people were there. 50, 60, whatever. Something people are just
it was a lot.
Just disappeared into thin air.
And the only person left is just Stanley.
Would have been Smokes.
Yep.
Surrounded by clan members.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which, by the way, at the end, I was like, ooh.
I was just about to say, let's get there. That was another moment where the screen also spread.
Dude, I didn't notice it any other time except for the ancestry scene.
Well, I didn't notice it for the ancestry scene. I just noticed it for the vampire scene. So that's the only scene I noticed.
That's all I meant. I meant the vampire scene. Sorry.
That's all good.
Oh, okay. I know I'm not going crazy. I swear it did multiple times. But that scene was dope. I felt some type of empowerment there. Like, they were coming to shoot them up, and he was waiting in the weeds, bushes, and he started going.
Does it remind me of like Django Unchained? And then a little bit of like, not in a different sense, but a little bit of like Black Klansman in there, So it's like, you guys thought, but we're getting the jump on you, Yeah.
And I was hoping
grenade.
Oh yeah.
He said
they tried to drive away, and they were like, "Oh, they were cooked." I was hoping Smoke would stay alive.
Me too.
Dang.
Yeah.
He needed to be with Annie.
Yep. And Miles was the only one that stayed alive and came back home to his, father. Not home, but came back to the church on a Sunday.
Yeah.
He said, "I'll be there for church in the morning." I mean, he was there for church in the morning. In the worst way.
I like how nobody even asked what happened. His dad didn't say son, I told you. He's like, are you gonna quit? I think I don't know. I think his dad knew, not that they were vampires, but he was just I guess not surprised that his son came back in the state that he was in. But I'd be like, what happened to your face? Like, what's up with your clothes? Like, whose blood is this? But he's like, no, are you gonna give up this lifestyle? And I was like, oh, okay, that's it.
And he said no.
Yeah, no. He said
his dad he's like, I don't care. I know you was out doing whatever, but I'm gonna give it up. Come give it up.
Yeah,
which is interesting. One last thing before we end. Let's that music, man. That music, levels. I think the music adds so much, to this film. Ludwig Göransson, man, that man is on. I think I've said this multiple times. He's on a generational run right now.
Yeah.
From Tenet to Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Oppenheimer. He's on a run right now, and I think this score, it brought this movie to life in a beautiful way. You get this southern twang, feel, and then when the vampires come, you get this this
Irish jig, man.
the Irish jig. Like you get so many different themes and different types of themes that wrap up into this movie, and it feels right. It doesn't feel weird. Like it feels clearly there's an intention with it, and it makes the movie feel that much better. Lynn, what are your thoughts on the music, on the score?
Hey, listen now. I wasn't paying attention to the music. I was watching the movie. I mean, I would notice at different times, like how the music got softer when they were talking to their women. But I was so focused on characterization, and plot, and just trying to figure all of that out. That was where my brain was, that I really wasn't listening to the music. Listening back, I'm like, it's really good. Leave me alone.
It's not just really good, sweetie. It's incredible.
Enough roasting me. Ask Josiah.
I think I'm with Lynn on this. Like, it's not that it was bad. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't like the most. Like, it wasn't, what we had with Oppenheimer is what we typically would feel like from Hans Zimmer. So like the boom, 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 because like the bomb and like the nature of the film, or Tenet's like real exciting spots. But this is just like, since it's a Southern movie, it takes place in day. It's very subtle. It's all about, like, I guess really the fact that it's so subtle really kind of enhances the atmosphere of the. And I'm not like that big into music. I appreciate music. I listen to music, but I'm not like a musician or anything like that. But I don't know. It wasn't bad, of course, but it wasn't like the best from Ludwig. I guess I just didn't really notice it that much. I can't think. There's not that. I didn't leave the movie thinking, what's that one song from that one scene in the movie that really just hit me in the feels emotionally? I didn't have that. You know what I mean? So I'm sorry, I gotta go with Lynn on this one. I just didn't really notice. But you can tell me how you felt. This
broke my heart. I thought it was incredible. This broke my heart. It broke my heart, y'all. Y'all are breaking my heart right now. This music is so good.
If we're already breaking your heart, can I just drive the stake through? So I was gonna say, yeah, exactly. So this might be a hot take. I was thinking about how to tell you and Corn Man, but I think that Sinners is his second best movie.
Interesting.
I know you said earlier it might be his best film. I don't think it's his best film. I think it's his second best.
Then what's his best in your book?
I would say probably Creed. I think Creed was just
okay.
Because I think since you only had 5 movies, coming in last would be Wakanda Forever. It was a little rushed, and that's totally not his fault. Chadwick Boseman passing. You can't blame him for that. 4, I'd say Fruitvale Station, really well. The one that started it all. 3, Black Panther. I mean, great MCU film. What he did, the style, the racial tones, and the things he was talking about. And then 2, I'd probably say Sinners, and then Creed is probably my number 1. I know that might be a hot take, but I think Creed's probably still like the best. If I sat down and rewatched them all in a day, maybe I'd feel differently. But I think as of now, just thinking about it, I think Creed just edges it out just a little bit.
Did he do all of the Creeds?
He just did the first one.
He just did the first. Yeah, he produced 2 and 3,
and the Michael B. Jordan directed the third one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. But they still work together.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he produced it. Maybe.
Yeah, I think he executive produced 2 and 3, so he did a little bit with it. But dang.
Yeah, I didn't know how you was gonna feel about it not being my number 1, especially like
it's okay.
The buzz it's getting. I was like, man, maybe I can't say that now, but
no, you that's it's fair. It's fair. It's fine. I'm more upset about the music because Creed is still really good.
Yeah,
it's a really good film. So, but the music's hurt my heart. That score is so good. But Vic, he cooked on that score, guys. He cooked. I promise you. Just put it on in the car.
I don't doubt it, man. I don't doubt it. Like you said, he's just been killing it lately. Everybody knows like Hans Zimmer, of course. Like he's one of the goats. But Ludwig is just he just came in hot so fast. That everybody's like it was like a Winter Soldier was like on your left, and everybody was like, "Whoa, where'd he come from?" He just like, pulled up out of nowhere, you know. So nobody's doubting Ludwig. It's just I don't know. It just wasn't. I think just because of what movie it was, it just didn't. Even in like the marketing, I don't think they ever really because like Oppenheimer, it was just like know and then you know what I mean. It just and then any Hans Zimmer score was like boom, boom. You know, I just don't think even in the marketing. I don't think, so. Oh, one last question before we go on my end. I wanted to ask you guys: do you think Sinners would be doing as good as it is now if in the promotions in the advertisements they never mentioned any vampires at all? Like if people wanted to see the movie, but none of the trailers or anything, they didn't reveal anything about it being a vampire flick. Do you think it would be doing as good as it is?
Here's my thing. Michael B. Jordan pulls the female audience. I'm going to leave it at that.
And the male audience, Michael B. Jordan's like...
Shout out to the female audience and Michael B. Jordan. I think, to be honest, I don't... And I could be wrong. I didn't get overt vampires from the trailer, which is why I thought it was demonic. I thought it was just like spooky, scary stuff.
The very first trailer, or the trailer where they actually revealed it?
Must have been the very first one. I don't know. Because if there was one that was like, hey, this is about vampires, I didn't catch that. Michael said they're vampires, and I said, oh. So I'm gonna say no.
Okay.
Because otherwise, you're not quite sure what the plot is.
Mm-hmm.
But that's also, fair. Women will go to see Michael B. Jordan.
That's fair. I think the only reason I'd say... I don't know if it would have hit as big as it hit. I think people would have showed up because it's Ryan Coogler and it's Michael B. Jordan. People are going to show up.
Okay.
I think that it would have showed up. Like, you would have had... It probably would have made what it was projected to make, or maybe just below. But I think after that first week, when people go, oh, it's about vampires, that word of mouth, then I think in week 2, probably week 2, I think is when it would start to pick up when people go,
okay,
it's about vampires. And it's, I think that's when people go, oh, I didn't get that from that marketing. I'm going to go see it. So it probably would have been like, like I used Transformers Prime, for example. Is it Prime? Transformers Prime? The animated movie? I think so.
In Transformers 1? They made 2 animated movies. Transformers 1 and then a different one. I can't remember.
Okay, the most recent one.
Okay.
Whichever the one it's called, I can't remember. But the marketing for that one was just outright bad. Everybody agreed it was bad because when you would go see the movie, people are like, it's way better than the trailers. That's what led me to go see it in the first place, because I'm like, at first I was like, this looks cheesy. It looks kid. It looks like it's not for me. But people are like, actually, the marketing was horrible. This is good. And I think the word of mouth helped it just a little bit along the way. And I think that probably would have been the same thing from this. But that's a really good question. It's tough because, it probably could go either way. But I think having a Michael B. Jordan and having a Ryan Coogler in front of it, and you keep marketing as director of Black Panther, director of, Creed, Fruitvale, yeah. I think you have a good chance to do well.
I don't remember what she did when she was younger, but do you think Hailee Steinfeld still pulls in like that Disney audience, if that makes sense? Was she in Disney? I can't remember. I know she was in that Bumblebee movie.
No.
I don't remember what it was, but do you think she
Honestly,
didn't?
Pitch Perfect started her career.
What is it?
Pitch Perfect.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No.
What?
We're not going to disrespect Miss Steinfeld here on the Real Table. True Grit in 2010.
I didn't
True
see
Grit in 2010.
Okay, True Grit.
Okay,
so then forget my question, because that's more of like that would be more of a Zendaya question. I know she's pretty far removed from Disney these days for the most part, but it's like, do you think she still kind of pulls in that audience? But if she started with True Grit in 2010, then that's a completely different, starting.
I know
point.
her from Pitch Perfect or The Edge of 17.
I have not seen. I'm not a big musical person, so I didn't see Pitch Perfect. I've heard wonderful things about it, of course, but
the second one, and she was embarrassing.
So
yeah, she was nominated for supporting actress. She didn't win back in 2011, but yeah, True Grit.
I'm going to have to check that
She
out.
was
now.
like, she's yay high. It was good. It was good. I remember watching it after, and I was like, oh, this is
sweet.
pretty
It's
good.
on Hulu. Look at that.
Jeff Bridges, Josh Brolin, Matt Damon.
Great
Yeah,
cast.
that's a solid one.
Great cast.
Yeah, it's a solid cast, and it's directed by the Coen
Are we
brothers
going
too.
to talk about the end credit scene?
Yeah, real quick.
Okay.
Thoughts on end credits?
So I didn't see the second end credit scene, but I know what it is, and it's pretty inconsequential, I think, in my opinion, from what I know about it.
Right.
I was a little bit shocked to see Michael B. Jordan and Hailee Steinfeld walk in. But then I thought about it, it's like, oh, Hailee Steinfeld ran off, and then we didn't see her again.
Right.
I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And then the twist of him not being able to kill his brother, I think that's a typical story beat for these kinds of movies. But I thought it was great. I loved how Sammy didn't want to be turned into a vampire. I think it would be a little hard to explain at that point. It's like, you're really old. Why are you still around? But it was just, he wanted his dream. He wanted his life to do all this. But still, at the end of it, this could tie into like maybe a Christian point of view for sinners. Is like, at the end of it, I've seen enough of this life. I've seen enough of this world. I don't want to live here any longer. I don't want to live here forever because it's enough,
Yeah.
And so, and then of course, like what I said earlier about him just saying, probably was the best day of my life. Last time I saw my brother was the first thing he said, and then saying last time I saw the sun, he said, but for those few hours we were actually really free, And Sammy saying, despite still waking up like from nightmares like once a week, he's like, it was still probably the best day of my life, So I just thought, I don't know, it's just such a really like nice poetic ending. And I don't know, I've heard people say like based on the credit scene that could be potential like franchise or like, I didn't get those vibes from that ending. It was just like kind of wrapping up the story, but I'm like, how are you're just gonna have a vampire movie with Hailee Steinfeld, Michael B. Jordan doing what? You know what I mean? So I don't think, and I told Michael in a podcast episode, I think about Godzilla -1. I'm kind of sick of everything being turned into sequels these days and franchises. Like, why can't we just have one idea and it'd be a great movie and all that? I would say though, or spin-offs. I know he likes The Boys, and then they did Gen V, and then they did what was the other Boys spin-off they did? And I'm like, why do we have two?
Sure.
But I will say the only way I would like to see an expansion in this world or universe, if we got a prequel movie of Remick being like an Irishman and being a vampire and all that. That's the only way I would like to see more, is if it was from his point of view, being like an Irishman and how did he get to America or what his story is about. If they did that, I think it would have been really great. But besides that, I don't see that.
Yeah. Go ahead, Lon. Yeah.
I have two things to say. One, I don't understand why Stack and Mary ran off after Smoke killed Annie. I didn't get that part. Why was that the catalyst? Because when they were fighting, he was like, "Why'd you kill Annie, man?" Like he was like mad at him. So something had to do with Annie. I don't know. Two, we just watched a TikTok. Michael and I just watched a TikTok. If you go to the score of Sinners and like scroll all the way down to the bottom, there are like the pictures of the three groups, like the ancestry groups. Okay. Like spirits that are drawn to the music, and there's newspaper clippings, and one of the newspaper clippings talks about a ship, an immigrant ship that came from Ireland to America, and like when it arrived, all of the occupants were dead and bleeding out, and like none of the occupants were alive. So they were like, that's how Remick got over. Like he came over on a ship.
So
but,
I will say,
I think you're right.
To that though. Not to that, the first part, the about Hailee Steinfeld, Michael Jordan. My other thing, the question I was asking Tyler about is, why did they run off in the first place? Like, weren't they sort of under Remick's control? So why were they the only two vampires that could just like leave? Like, why did they leave when everybody else went in to fight? I mean, Michael B. Jordan went in to fight, but it's like, wasn't it being under their control? Wouldn't he have to give them permission to leave? So I guess I kind of, if that was kind of like a flaw in the story or something, I just didn't see how they managed to escape when
Right.
everybody else was still there. Like, why didn't they want to stay and fight, or why weren't they compelled to stay and fight? So I'm like, but I'm not mad. I'm not mad at it. I thought the post-credit scene was great. It really wrapped up the story. So yeah, those are my thoughts.
Yep.
Wait, can you send me that TikTok that she's talking about though? Like afterwards?
Yep. I'll try to find it.
All right. Awesome.
Yep. And also Coogler's not interested in he's not interested in franchising this, which is good.
Yeah.
I'm all about that. Let's make one-offs and let's just keep the train rolling.
Because I think even though I like it a lot, I remember hearing that John Krasinski didn't want to make A Quiet Place. But I think the studio pushed for it and there was a lot of money, so he did it. And part 2 is really good. But I didn't like day one. I was like, that wasn't really needed. I'd rather have just A Quiet Place 3. But they could have just had just A Quiet Place and then end it where it ended, and that would have been fine with me. So I'm glad he's sticking to it and not, turning it into a franchise just for the sake of success and money. Yeah.
Also, before we end, I'd like to mention that he signed a deal to where in 25 years he'll get the rights back to own this movie, which is dope. And a lot of people are unhappy about it because it puts the powers into the creatives' hands, and all I gotta say is, suck it.
Yeah.
Let the creatives have their power.
This is the first time they had this deal. I think anybody's had this deal. Because I know Sylvester Stallone has been very vocal and very unhappy these last few years about how he doesn't own the rights to Rocky, even though he created it. You know what I mean? So for Ryan to... And I think what you said earlier, that's probably why WB won out in the bid for the movie, because they were probably the only ones who consented or agreed to the deal. And 25 years is a long time, though. So, I don't know if he has any kids now, but their kids are going to be almost like our age by the time the rights come. So people are acting like after the theatrical release, he's going to own it all. It's like, no, it's still going to be 25 years, my guy. Yeah. I'm going to be 56 when that deal is up. So, that's not some that's kind of a long time for the studio to still own the rights.
Yep, that's a big long while for the studio to own the rights. Well, I think that's perfect. This is the longest episode in Real Table podcast history, and this is the longest 100, an hour and 41 minutes. So, guys, thank you for locking in and just coming and just talking about this movie. Which, if you haven't seen it and you're listening to this, what are you doing? You should have paused this episode a long time ago and ran to the theater, but now you can't. You still can. So go see Sinners. Go see Sinners. Josiah, thank you for hopping on as always. Again. Always, man. We're gonna keep going here. We're gonna keep going. And my lovely wife, who gets on here when she can. Thank you. Before this episode, she was like, "I want to be on the podcast." She's like, "I want to be on. I want to talk about it." And I was like, "All right, let's get you on. So, my lovely wife, thank you for being on here, and everybody else that's still listening, still watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share this podcast with people. Share it. And go to the movies. May is going to be here, and we got some fun ones coming up. So stay tuned. Stay locked in. The Real Table Podcast. I will see y'all real soon. Y'all be safe out there. Peace.
See ya.
Once again, thank y'all so much for joining me today on the Real Table Podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and even comment. I want to hear your thoughts and I want to hear your opinions. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram at The Real Table Pod and on Twitter at The Real Table. And don't forget to also check me out on therealtable.com for news, articles, and reviews. I will see y'all soon. Peace.